Hello and welcome to this tutorial of The Sun by Maroon 5 off of this album right here, Songs About Jane. This is part of a larger project that I'm doing where I take an album that I like and I just make a bunch of content around it, including tutorials and covers and podcasts and things of that nature. And so this is part of that. Next time I do this, it'll be a different album and so on and so forth. And so it's kind of a little project I'm doing, which this is a part of. With that said, let's go ahead and get into The Sun, which is why you're here. This is definitely a lesser known song off the album. I didn't even know it existed until I listened to the full thing to do my project. But it's interesting like the rest of the album. It has some like different progressions and some tense moments in there. And it very much sounds like this album and it fits in and I'm a fan of it. But if you're more on the beginner side, this will be a great exercise to show you some different chord progressions and different movements. So yeah, it's a fun song. Let's go ahead and get into it. For starters, we start on the A minor. In standard tuning, A minor. And then from there we go to a C. And then from here we go to a D major. Now, what's really interesting is naturally this D is going to be a minor in the key that we're in. This D is naturally going to be a minor, but what they decided to do is make it major. And so it adds a different tonal quality to it. So for example, like here it is normally how the song plays it. D major. But what if we play that as a D minor? That sounds weird, right? It's like a different song now. What they decided to do is make it major. And so that's tonally, that's interesting. It's a major two of sorts. And so that's like those three chords are your entire intro and your verse. After school, walking home, fresh dirt under my fingernails, and I could smell hard asphalt. Car screeching to a halt to let me pass. And that's it. It's A minor, C, D major. Now, real quick on this D major. One thing you can do is instead of going from this C, playing the D like this, you can go, another way to play the D is take this C shape and you move it up a whole step. So you move it up 1, 2 frets and you just strum that. And you hear how it's the same thing, it's just stacked a little bit differently. That is to say that the notes are, like, it's all basically all the same notes, but they're rearranged to be in a different order. But this is another way that you can play a D. And so since you're already playing the C shape, the way I'll usually play it is I'll come up here. And so I'll go, after school, walking home, fresh dirt under my fingernails, and I can smell hard asphalt, car screeching to a halt to let me pass. Oh, I cannot remember what life was like through photographs, trying to recreate images life gives us from the past. And you can even walk up that bass line on the A string, 2nd fret to the C. Sometimes it's a sad song, but and so now we come to the chorus. The chorus, you go here, but you kind of build up into it a little bit, and then you go F, I cannot forget, to a C. And if you can't do this bar chord F, I'll show you a different way to do it momentarily. But you go F, I cannot forget, to a C, to an A minor, refuse to regret, to a G. So glad I met you, and you just loop that back around for the chorus. Take my breath away, make every day worth all of the pain that I've gone through. See, mama, I've been crying, 'cause things ain't how they used to be. She said the battle's almost won, and we're only several miles from the sun. So the last time through the chorus, it changes up a little bit. But before we get there, let's look at this F. If bar chords are something that you haven't been able to do yet, I'm going to show you something real quick, a different way to play it, as well as, I guess, kind of the theory behind it that'll hopefully make it easier to understand bar chords. So all all bar chords, and we're going to look at this with the B minor that we played here as well. All bar chords are based off of the E major, E minor, A major, and A minor shapes. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take an E major, but instead of playing it with these 3 fingers, we're going to play it with these 3 fingers. And it might feel weird at first, but trust the process. So middle finger, first fret of the G string, and ring and pinky finger on the second fret of the A and D strings. And your index finger, you just leave it hanging. So that's your E major shape. What you do is you take that, you move it up half a step, so 1 fret. Now here what we can do is you can reach around with your thumb to play the first fret of the low E string. That puts your F in the bass. And then your index finger right here goes on the first fret of the B string. And you strum all that. And so this open E string right here, depending on what you're going for, that can sound really nice. But if the song doesn't really call for it, what you do is you mute that, probably with your index finger or another one of your fingers, just kind of not letting that vibrate. And so you go right there, that's my index finger resting on that. And this is basically an F bar chord. The only difference is this high E string. And then from here it's really easy to go to the C, because you already have most of your fingers there. And so that's one way to do it. So you go, I cannot forget A minor regret, so glad I met you, and take my breath away, make every day worth all of the pain that I've gone through. Say, mama, I've been crying 'cause things ain't how they used to be. She said the battle's almost won. So here on this last time through the chorus, you hang out for an extra bar here on the F. You go, the battle's almost won. And then you go B minor, and we're only several to a E7. Miles from the sun to an A minor. Now, to this B minor. Again, remember, all the bar chords are based off of your E and A shapes. And so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to play an A minor, but we're going to play it instead of with these 3, we're going to play it with these 3 fingers. So first finger on the first, so your middle finger on the first fret of the B string, your pinky and ring finger on the second fret of the D and G strings. And your index finger is just left hanging. So this is an A minor. We're going to move that up 1, 2 frets. We're going to put our pointer finger on the second fret of the A string. And you can just let that open E be open, that high E string. And that's a B minor. You don't have to get that in there if you're unable to. If you can, because right here you can't do what we did with the F where you can reach around with your thumb because it's on the A string. You can't really do that. Yeah, I guess you can, but that's very impractical. So if you can't bar that with the right here on the second fret of the A string and the second fret of the E string at the same time, just let that E string ring open. That's fine. Only several miles, and then here you go to an E7. From the sun, and that's just your E major, but you let the D string be open. From the sun, and then you go back into the intro / verse chords. So let's go ahead and play all that through from the second verse to the second chorus, and then we'll get to the bridge when we get to it in a second. So from the second verse you go, moving on down my street, see people I won't ever meet. Think of her, take a breath, feel the beat in the rhythm of my steps. Sometimes it's a sad song, oh, but I cannot forget, refuse to regret. So glad I met you, and take my breath away, make every day with all of the pain that I've gone through. See, mama, I've been crying 'cause things ain't how they used to be. hang out on the F, battle's almost won. B minor to an E7, miles from the sun, to an A minor. If you were able to get all that, you've basically got the song down. Like, there's not a whole lot new that we're going to look at after this. The bridge simply goes to the A minor. You go, and the melody is right here, the 3rd fret of the B string to the 1st fret. After school, walking home. That's like your starting point. If you're trying to sing along with this, I found it complicated for no reason. For some reason. But after school, walking home. Same thing here with the bridge. We're going to go A minor. The rhythm of a conversation. To the E7. The perfection of her creation. Back to the A minor, and it just goes back and forth. She slipped into my coffee, E7. Way she felt when she first saw me, A minor. Hate to love and love to hate her, like a broken record player. Back and forth and here and gone, and then you build up into the chorus on that E7. From here, go up to the F. I cannot forget, and you're in the chorus. Na, 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 na. So glad I met you. Take my breath away, make every day with all of the pain that I've gone through. See, mama, I've been crying, 'cause things ain't how they used to be. She said the battle's almost won. Hang out here, B minor to the E7, loop that back around. She said the battle's almost won. B minor, only several miles from the sun. And then here I like to just rock out a little bit on this outro. This instrumental, just go crazy a little bit. And then I like to wrap the song up with going back to the F. The battle's almost won. B minor. Several miles. She says the battle's almost won, and we're only several miles from the sun. And then resolve it to the A minor. And that's how I personally like to play and end this song. It's not super complicated. It's honestly harder to sing than it is to play. Because, like, for me at least, I was having trouble, like, hearing the melody, and so I tried playing it, and that helped out. But hopefully you learned something. Go into that D right here. That's not the first way you learn to play a D. You learn that after playing for a while, I guess. Same thing with the bar chords, how they're all built off of the E and A shapes. That's helpful knowledge to know. Hopefully you learn that and more. And if need be, you can reference this video. Maybe I'll make another one. And yeah, so that is all. Again, this is part of a larger project. You can check that all out at the link below or here on my page. Comment down below if there's any other songs in particular that you'd like to hear. And that's all. I'll see you next time. Toodles.